In her debut novel, Wench, author Dolen Perkins-Valdez takes readers back in the time before the Civil War to a popular retreat in Ohio where Southern slaveholders take their enslaved black mistresses. Dolen Perkins-Valdez is a graduate of Harvard, holds a PhD in American Literature from George Washington University, and joins me now. It's great to have you.
Great to have me here. Thank you.
All right, Wench, what a title. When I looked at it, I looked at it as, wow, this is a very derogatory word.
Right.
Why name a book Wench?
Well, the word wench originally, and it says it in the epigraph of the book, meant young girl, and as the usage came into the United States, it became specifically attached to black female slaves.
You actually define, I know it is in the first page of the book, you describe the different definitions for wench.
Right, and often in America and elsewhere we think of the word wench as a sort of pirate wench, tavern wench in the English usage. But in the American usage it was applied to black women, which became a derogatory term, and I wanted to bring that usage back in terms of how we talk about these women.
Now, these are four women, four women who were slaves, the pre-Civil War days. They all go to this retreat, the Tawawa House in Ohio, which is a free state.
Right.
And so, did that happen frequently with the white masters?
Vacationing with the slave mistresses, I don't think it happened often, but it actually did happen in the case of this particular resort, which was located right outside of Xenia, Ohio. And that resort eventually became Wilberforce University, and most of those early students were the sons and daughters of white Southern slave owners. So this is a particularly, I think, significant time where it happened, but I wouldn't say it happened often.
And these are four women. One woman especially is the heroine, Lizzy, and the three others are Mawu, Sweet, and Rini.
Right.
And this is a story about their lives and in a time when they were trying to decide whether they should be free or not.
Right, and that was the challenge that many slave women faced. If you escaped slavery, you often left behind your children. And what that meant was that most slaves who escaped to freedom tended to be male rather than female. And we know that one reason women stayed behind was because of their children. And I wanted to portray a slave who had that predicament in this book.
Which is, in this book, it's Lizzy.
Correct.
And it was difficult for her because she wanted to help her three other friends to become free, but at the same time she actually told people about one woman who was planning to escape, and she did it because she said she did it out of love.
Right. She's a very
she's conflicted.
She is. She's a very conflicted character. She loves the friendship that she has with these women, but she also has a view of her owner as a benevolent person who cares about her. And part of what Wench tries to do is to portray that complicated psychological dynamic that developed between a slave and her owner, one in which someone had complete control over your mind. And at that point in the book, her slave owner does control her mind, and she believes she loves him, and she believes that he will protect the slave.
Right, and the woman who was trying to escape.
Right.
And she comes back and she's beaten by her owner because Lizzy had basically told on her.
Right. Yeah.
And it is a tough situation for all of them because they are in free Ohio, a state where
That's right.
they were in a retreat where they were socializing with people who were free.
Right, and you know, that was the thing that really intrigued me about this resort, because it's in Ohio, which is not only a free state, but which, as we all know, as students of history, a hotbed of Underground Railroad activity. There were many abolitionists who lived in the area. There were safe houses where a slave might have escaped to, and so many slaves died trying to cross the Ohio River. I was very curious about what circumstances would have to happen for a slave to be taken into a state like Ohio and then return to the South. And I thought that there had to be some kind of psychological dependency on one's owner that would prevent one from making that decision about escape. And that's really the question of the novel.
Well, Lizzy is such a strong heroine. She really is. And I wanted to know more about her at the end of the book. I don't want to give away the plot for those who haven't read the book, but she is the only one who returns to where she lives. Are you going to write more about her?
Well, you know, they say never. I'm working on a second book that hopefully will come out in 2013 that is not a sequel. It's a Civil War novel. But, you know, I'm open to maybe revisiting her in the future, but not right now.
Well, you were very successful with this one. This book, New York Times bestsellers list. You're chosen by the Oprah Book Club.
Thank you.
Well, that's amazing for your first book.
It has been amazing. I mean, for a first book, it's just, you know, it's been a real roller coaster ride, but I have enjoyed every minute, and I encourage people who want to write historical fiction, because there are a lot of readers out there who appreciate it, and I encourage people, you know, if they have a story that they want to write it, because for every 5 no's, you can get 1 yes, and sometimes that yes is a big yes.
And the name of the book again is Wench by Dolen Perkins-Valdez, and it is now in paperback. So continued success, and we're looking forward to your next book.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.